Good day and welcome to ESPN's exclusive coverage of the ASP Australian Grand Slam of Surfing. Hello, I'm David Stanfield, and we are here at Burleigh Heads in Queensland, the Gold Coast of Australia, and it is a magnificent day for surfing competition. In this, the richest Australian tournament to date, $165,000 being offered in the Bundaberg Surf Masters. Coming up, great surfing action from Australia. Stay with us. It's for ESPN's exclusive coverage of the first of 3 events in the Australian Grand Slam of Surfing. Today, the Bundaberg Surf Masters. I'm David Stanfield, and early this morning we had stormy conditions with a considerable amount of rain. Our conditions right now, we have clearing skies, bumpy, but good 3 to 6 foot surf with water temperature a comfortable 70 degrees. The runoff of nearly a week's worth of rain showers has turned the waves into a murky brown color, but the rain hasn't dampened the spirits of the spectators or the competitors who are going after $165,000 in prize money, and the winner receiving $20,000 Australian. For 4 years, the shores of the world-famous Burleigh Heads have laid dormant to the world's best surfing talents. Burleigh Heads' previous contest was the Stubbies Classic, an annual event which ran 10 years and introduced man-on-man competition to professional surfing. The normal, tranquil setting of Burleigh Heads and the other surfing-oriented communities along the Gold Coast has been replaced by a sense of excitement and anticipation to have the top pros in the world surfing here once again. Now, early this morning, we had a torrential downpour of rain, but surfing got underway at 9 a.m. sharp with the quarterfinals. 5 Americans and 3 Australians. Let's take a look at the highlights. Quarterfinal heat number 1, Hawaii's Marty Thomas up against Queensland's own Gary Elkerton. Elkerton, a crowd favorite, seemed to be at home in Burleigh's stormy early morning surf. Since his second-place finish at the Coldwater Classic and through the early rounds of competition, Gary's surfing has continued at a level which should keep him in the hunt for the world title this season. This wave, more specifically this big move, is a good example of Gary's powerful approach to scoring points. Elkerton's opponent, 23-year-old Marty Thomas, opened up strong, scoring a total of 22.5 points out of a possible 30 on this, his first wave. At the end of the 25-minute heat, the win went to Gary Elkerton by less than 4 points. Quarterfinal heat number 2, California's Richie Collins went up against current world champion Martin Potter. Richie Collins' second wave was his best, a quick cover-up inside a Burleigh barrel, then slash the open face for 22.5 points. Martin Potter, after losing his very first heat as the defending world champion in the Coldwater Classic, came back with a vengeance and a new look here at Burleigh Heads. His opening wave, with this big re-entry, scored an impressive 24 points. Martin Potter advanced over Richie Collins into semifinal number 1, where he would later clash with Gary Elkerton. Quarterfinal number 3 saw a pair of young lions matched up in Hawaii's Sonny Garcia and his Australian opponent, Burleigh Head local Michael Bundaberg. As the heats progressed, the weather cleared up and the surf cleaned up. Bundaberg's opening wave featured a series of precise turns and quick snaps, good enough for 18.5 points. Sonny Garcia's highest scoring wave featured this perfect cover-up, which netted Sonny 24 points. Michael Bundaberg, whose skills are patterned after Australian legend Wayne Lynch, scoring here 25.5 points, the highest scoring wave of the heat. But it was 19-year-old Sonny Garcia's consistency that gave him the edge. The 4th-year pro seemed to be in rhythm and did exactly what was needed to earn him a spot in the semis. Quarterfinal heat number 3, Sonny Garcia eliminates local favorite Michael Bundaberg. And the score, 82 to 67.5. Quarterfinal heat number 4 saw Florida's Todd Holland up against Tom Curren. Holland, the 1987 ASP Rookie of the Year, opened his account with a quick cover-up worth 19.5 points. Looking at that wave once again, entering the barrel was the easy part. He earned most of his points by coming out of the quick closeout. Tom Curren had 2 21.5-point waves. This was his first, dazzling the thousands of spectators with his textbook re-entry right as the wave closed out. The key to winning is executing radical, controlled maneuvers in the most critical section of the wave with speed and power throughout. And his second high-scoring wave, the other 21.5-pointer, showcased Tom's explosive moves and his dynamic style. Todd Holland's efforts were highlighted by brief but thrilling barrel rides. This tube netted him his high score of the heat, 20 points. The final outcome, Tom Curren over Todd Holland, 83.3 to 74.5. In the semifinals, Gary Elkerton versus Martin Potter, Sonny Garcia, and Tom Curren. The thousands of enthusiastic and knowledgeable surf fans of the Gold Coast were more than ready for the semis. Gary Elkerton, 25 years old, the 6-year veteran, now a resident of Lacanau, France, currently ranked #2 in the world. Martin, the 24-year-old defending world champion, born in Newquay, England, now living just north of Sydney in Whale Beach, Australia. Semifinal highlights #1. Gary Elkerton, wearing the yellow jersey, picked off the opening wave of the heat. Now, in the eyes of the 5 ASP World Tour judges, Elkerton was surfing with the judging criteria in mind. Good wave selection, great personal style, and powerful maneuvers. Martin Potter, who won 4 of the first 5 events last year, learned that it just doesn't pay to hold back. True to form, he goes for it on every wave. Potts' wave once more. Beautiful, fast bottom turn, snap off the lip, followed by this unsuccessful, seemingly impossible re-entry attempt. Gary Elkerton taking off at the point, another spectacular cover-up, and continued down the line, racking up the points. Entering the tube, Elkerton stayed compressed and kept his speed, powered through a small opening in the barreling section, and continued to score points. Martin Potter, with a remarkable 9 years of World Tour surfing experience, displayed his uncanny ability to generate speed, then suddenly change directions with spectacular carving turns. Gary Elkerton seemed right at home in the warm South Pacific waters of Burleigh Heads, with a talent for wave selection. Martin Potter earned over $115,000 in prize money last year while winning 6 major events. In the end, it was the 2-time Hawaiian Triple Crown champion Gary Elkerton advancing into the main event. Elkerton disappeared, then reappeared to the delight of the thousands of spectators. Gary Elkerton, runner-up to the world title in 1987, is no doubt aggressive, focused, and committed. Semifinal heat #1 results. Gary Elkerton defeats Martin Potter 87-74. Martin Potter receives an equal 3rd place finish and $5,000. The Gold Coast of Australia, the state of Queensland, is in the northeast portion of this beautiful country. Thousands of kilometers of white sand beaches, majestic headlands, and some very friendly natives. Highlights of semifinal #2 and the finals of the Bundaberg Masters coming up right after this. The Association of Surfing Professionals World Tour, ESPN's Hot Summer Nights, bringing you exclusive coverage of the Bundaberg Surf Masters from Burleigh Heads, Australia. Now we continue with semifinal highlights. In semi #2, Hawaii's Sonny Garcia, the 4th-year pro, a 1-time U.S. Amateur Boys champion, thus far has eliminated Greg Anderson, Dave McCauley, and Michael Bundaberg. Garcia will meet Tom Curren. Curren, who's been in semi-retirement the last 2 years, has returned to top form. The first-round wildcard seed has defeated Chris Frohoff, Damian Hardman, Brad Gerlach, and Todd Holland. Tommy Curren opened the heat with this wave. A couple of great moves, then an uncharacteristic mistake. Curren's second wave, again some fluid, high-speed moves, capped off by a remarkable free-falling re-entry. The master, Tom Curren, 26 years old, 20 years of surfing experience. And from the outset, Sonny Garcia took chances. Garcia's spectacular attempt of an aerial re-entry had the crowd's approval, but scored very few points for the effort. Tom Curren, a 2-time winner of the Stubbies Classic here at Burleigh Heads, both in 1984 and in 1985, finds the Burleigh Barrel, as he's done so many times in the past, and showed championship form by staying with this wave. The longer a surfer rides on a wave, the more opportunities he or she has to perform scoring maneuvers. And Tom Curren did just that, perform functional maneuvers on a wave that otherwise looked somewhat mediocre. Sonny Garcia, playing catch-up from the outset, actually put on an electrifying performance. Garcia was ASP's Most Improved Surfer of the Year in 1987 and showed us why he deserved that title and his top 16 rating with one of the best Burleigh barrels of the contest. Tom Curren, relentless in his attack, radical, controlled maneuvers personified. Sonny Garcia going for broke, pulled off some intense big moves. But in the final outcome, aside from Sonny's heroic maneuvers, this semifinal belonged to Tom Curren. Semifinal number 2, Curren has taken out Sonny Garcia 79.5 to 67 points. The resident of Biarritz, France, has traveled halfway around the world to go into the finals of the Bundaberg Surf Masters. We are set to go for the finals, and 2 powerful surfers are going at it. It will be the winningest surfer in history, former 2-time world champion Tom Curren, a seeded trialist, up against local favorite, which will have 20,000 fans rooting him on, Gary Elkerton, originally from Australia. And this is an instant replay of the O'Neill Coldwater Classic, round number 1. It was Tom Curren versus this man, Gary Elkerton. Elkerton wearing the yellow vest, up and riding his first wave. Good down-the-line speed. Elkerton making 2 good sections. Now the wave closes out, mushes out on the inside. He pulls out. Out the back at the point. It's Tom Curren now. Picking up his speed, snaps at the top, and goes down, hurls. Catches the rail, goes down hard. And looking at Gary Elkerton's first wave, scores coming in 18.5 points. Now here's Tommy Curren, receiving only 9.5 points. No priority right now. Both surfers want this wave. And a paddling battle early on in this heat. And Tommy Curren a little frustrated. And a very irritated Gary Elkerton over that paddling battle with Tom Curren. Let's take a look at that one more time. No priority. Both surfers wanting this wave. Elkerton trying to paddle around. Curren stands up first. It's a judge's decision right now. And looking at the rule book, the offending surfer making contact with or forcing another surfer to change his line while paddling to catch the wave and causing possible loss of scoring potential will receive a paddling interference. And a tough decision for the judges. If we look at that one more time, we will see that Gary Elkerton is behind Tom Curren and trying to get to the inside with no priority. Curren gets a wave, Gary Elkerton gets a wave interference. Elkerton's second wave now, a little frustrated, going for broke. Inside the Burleigh barrel, he comes out, and no way could he make the shoulder. So Gary Elkerton behind the 8 ball will be scored on only 3 waves out of a possible 10. Tom Curren has a chance of scoring 4 waves. Elkerton a little frustrated, the crowd a little disappointed. We've got a break in the action here. So let's take a quick look at 3 of the Gold Coast premier surf breaks. One of the most popular in the world is Curren. Everybody loves Curren, and on a good day, the sandy bottom causes big, hollow, barreling waves that are absolutely a thrill to ride. Then there's Greenmount, another headland point, one in a series of similar breaks up and down the Gold Coast. And can you believe this? A beautiful wave, unridden. And of course, Burleigh Head's perhaps the best and most famous break of them all, seen here when the water's clear. We'll be back with more men's finals right after this. And can there be any doubt as to where we are? That's right, beautiful Australia, Queensland, Australia, and Burleigh Heads, the men's finals, Tom Curren versus Gary Elkerton. It's in progress right now. And wearing the black singlet is 26-year-old Tom Curren. He is in the driver's seat. He will be scored on 4 waves. His opponent, Gary Elkerton, with the paddling interference, will be scored on only 3. Here's Tommy Curren. Beautiful wave, great positioning, and a magnificent Burleigh barrel, and a good snap re-entry. And that is going to be a high-scoring wave for Tom Curren. Looking at that one more time. Plenty of speed, perfect positioning, grabs the rail with his left hand, stays in tight and fast and tucks, and gets a 25-point wave. Here's Gary Elkerton now. Elkerton drives down the line. What a snap off the top. And he drops his hand in the water, kind of a layback to recovery. Another good combination move. And a good wave for Elkerton. Here's Tom Curren now. His third wave, it takes shape down the line. Another snap for him. Picks up speed. Tucks right underneath the lip. Then a re-entry. And Curren can do no wrong right now. Tommy Curren currently leading the World Tour with moves like this, scoring the big points. Good snap off the top. Not much of a wave, but scoring the big points. Elkerton, same thing, and in fact a recovery. And a good move for Gary Elkerton. Looking at the score, 62.5 for Elkerton, Tommy Curren 57. But remember, when Tommy Curren gets his fourth wave, which is this right now, it will count toward the overall score. Curren with a big move out the back. And a barrel to boot. Curren great down the line surfing. And a mini combination, Tom Curren his fourth scoring wave. And remember, a perfect score is 30 points. Tom Curren receives 25.5 points on that his fourth wave. He paddles back out. The crowd looks on, and they are anticipating Tom Curren to win this right now, but it's not over. Tom Curren with beautiful surfing down the line. A mini cover-up, repositions himself. Precise surfing for Tom Curren. Let's take a look back at the women's finals, which took place yesterday between Lisa Anderson of Florida and Australia's Pam Burleigh. Burleigh, a 25-year-old veteran, has been a four-time runner-up to the women's world title, coming off yet another second-place finish at the Coldwater Classic. The second finalist, Lisa Anderson, a three-year pro from Ormond Beach, Florida, has never had a career victory. But it was her day Saturday. She had tough competition in the likes of Pam Burleigh. Burleigh versus Lisa Anderson. Burleigh from New South Wales, Australia, happy to be surfing once again in the home waters, got in some big moves on the open faces. Her surfing was relaxed and in control. Floridian Lisa Anderson, also in control, surfed with style and speed, and a generous helping of high-scoring maneuvers. In round number one, Lisa Anderson defeated Kathy Newman. In the quarterfinals, she defeated the world champion Wendy Botha. Then in the semifinals, Australian Pauline Menser. The appreciative surfing fans loved watching the aggressive surfing displayed by both competitors. But in the end, capitalizing on the smaller wave conditions and the higher scoring waves gave Lisa Anderson her first pro victory and a first place check for $8,000. Final results, Anderson 78.3 to Pam Burleigh 77.3. Congratulations to women's champion Lisa Anderson from Ormond Beach, Florida, her first ASP career victory. And we are back to the men's finals. Tom Curren versus Gary Elkerton. It is Elkerton now with his fourth wave, but remember, he will only be scored on 3 waves, so he is behind the 8 ball right now, and he's going to pull off seemingly impossible moves, trying for anything. Good cover-up. Can he come out? He comes out! Somewhat anticlimactic right now. It's going to be tough to overcome a one-wave deficit. He is spotted to Tom Curren with that wave interference. Nonetheless, he tries the impossible. Take a look at this. 26.5 points. A casual cover-up. He pulls into the barrel, and you say, no way. And he pulls out perfectly. And he paddles back over to the point where Tom Curren is in position for his next wave. Curren's fifth wave. Lots of chop on it. Good section now. And he gets in the barrel, answers right back. Tom Curren. It snaps off the top. Curren is not taking anything for granted. He continues to surf like he is behind. That's his final wave. A score of 25.2 points. And the crowd on the bluffs are amazed at Tom Curren's performance. He pulls into the barrel, great positioning, maintains his speed, pulls out. 25.2 points and a good snap Rio to finish that one off. Here's Elkerton's final wave. And a beautiful stalling floating re-entry. Continues down the line, another big re-entry. And if it wasn't for that paddling interference, this would have been an incredible heat. But the wave tallies right now. Tom Curren scored on 4, Gary Elkerton scored on 3. Look at Elkerton's final wave, 23.5 points. This was a replay of the recent O'Neill Pepsi Coldwater Classic in Santa Cruz, California, where Tom Curren won there by a convincing margin. And today, a brilliant heat. Both competitors surfing great, Tom Curren and Gary Elkerton, but Curren was in control throughout the final, especially when Gary Elkerton incurred a paddling interference. Curren scored on 4 waves, Elkerton only on 3. In addition to the great surf and scenery, the Gold Coast is also a popular tourist resort, the center of which is beautiful surfers' paradise. We'll find out who's the champion right after this. And the Bundaberg Surf Masters. Now let's go down to the stage for the announcement of today's champion.
Surfing black, Tom Curren.
Tommy, congratulations, 2 in a row. This is obviously a different win than it was in Santa Cruz, wasn't it?
Well, in fact, it was actually pretty much the opposite. It was in front of Gary's home crowd, and unfortunately, at the beginning of that heat, Gary did an interference, and you know that's the way it goes, and that made it a fairly anticlimactic final. But I think we both surfed well enough, especially towards the end of the heat, to make it enjoyable.
Your plans for the 1990 Tour, every event, and the World Championship?
I plan on competing in possibly 16 events this year, and depending on how I go along, I'll be concentrating mainly on placing as highly as I can. You know, at the moment I'm in the lead, so I can't really. I think right now is probably the good time to really go for it and concentrate.
Well, congratulations. Tom Curren now winning 2 in a row and taking a commanding lead on the ASP World Tour. For our champion Tom Curren from Santa Barbara, California and France, I'm David Stanfield. See you next week. Hotel accommodations provided by the beautiful Pan Pacific on Australia's Gold Coast. Air transportation provided by Air New Zealand. Air New Zealand flies daily to New Zealand and Australia with the most modern fleet of aircraft in the South Pacific.